Wait, hold on a second. $20 million.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. $20 million for one Russian air defense system, a Pantsir, just knocked out overnight by Ukrainian drones. In Crimea.
Not just a random hit either. This looks surgical.
Deep behind the lines, too, taking out a shield like that was something. Well, something way cheaper. It's textbook asymmetrical stuff.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the Military Point. Hey, before we jump in properly, tell us in the comments, where are you tuning in from? Always curious to know.
So, yeah, what we're really digging into today is it feels like a definite shift, a real ramp up in these long-range streaks, especially hitting occupied Crimea.
Okay.
And the mission seems pretty clear looking at the sources. It's like a two-pronged thing. Go after the air defenses, systematically weaken them, and hit the logistics. The fuel lines keeping everything running.
Okay, let's break down that first part, the tactical hit. Because, yeah, that $20 million Pantsir S, that number really jumps out.
It does. It's a modern, high-value piece of kit, a surface-to-air missile system.
And it gets taken out by a drone.
Yeah.
I mean, the cost difference alone is just, wow. That really changes the math of the conflict, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And look, this wasn't just any old piece of equipment lying around. We're hearing from an anonymous source, someone inside the SBU, Ukraine's security service.
Right.
They apparently called this specific Pantsir a key link in Russia's whole air defense network over Crimea. Like the main guard dog for important stuff.
A key link. And taking that out, especially over Crimea, that's got to have big strategic knock-on effects.
Huge.
The SBU source, they stressed that point.
Yeah.
Every system like this that gets destroyed just weakens Russia's grip, their ability to defend the peninsula.
Which is critical ground for them.
Exactly. It's been their main hub, right? Supporting the invasion since they, illegally annexed it back in 2014. So if you start punching holes in that air defense umbrella,
then everything underneath is suddenly a lot more vulnerable. It's like pulling bricks out of the wall. Eventually.
It starts to crumble.
Yeah.
A cascading effect.
That's what they're aiming for, creating those gaps. And what's interesting is the sources suggest the operation wasn't just about the missile launcher.
Oh.
No, apparently the same drone operation hit 2 radar stations as well at the same time.
Ah, okay. So blind them first, then hit the shooter.
Exactly. Can't shoot down what you can't track, right?
Right.
And you can't protect your expensive missile system if the eyes are gone. It's like integrated degradation. That's the idea.
Degradation, yeah, that sums it up. Making it riskier and riskier for Russia to operate there, one very expensive system at a time. But we should probably add, this isn't exactly a walk in the park for the drones either.
No, definitely not.
Russia's defense ministry claimed they shot down, 5 Ukrainian drones over Crimea just earlier that same day. So it's contested heavily.
It's a constant back and forth, high stakes.
Right, which makes the fact they are still getting through, hitting these high-value targets.
Well,
just some serious capability.
It's in persistence. It really does. And it kind of raises a big question about these fixed, expensive defenses, doesn't it? Like the Pantsir.
How so?
Well, you pour $20 million into this thing to protect an area, but if a relatively cheap drone, maybe mass-produced, can just keep coming and eventually take it out.
Then you have a problem that throwing money at doesn't easily fix.
Exactly. Replacing the system costs money, sure, but replacing that immediate defensive capability, that takes time you might not have. The asymmetry is brutal.
Yeah, that cost asymmetry. That's a story in itself.
Okay, but like you hinted, the air defense system wasn't the only thing on the menu for these drones.
Not at all.
They went from trying to blind the enemy to trying to starve them, straight for the fuel.
Yeah, and that brings us to the sort of second main push in this deep strike campaign.
Yeah.
Hitting the logistics, hitting the economics.
Right. Air defense gives you freedom to operate.
And fuel gives you the ability to operate. So Ukrainian drones apparently went after 2 big oil depots on the peninsula.
Okay, do we know where? Specifics help paint the picture. Yeah, the sources mention one strike sparking a huge fire at a fuel storage site in Hvardisk.
Wow.
And another one hitting infrastructure, possibly fuel-related, in Komsomolska. The details on the second one are a bit fuzzier, but hitting 2 separate depots in one go, that shows reach and coordination.
Absolutely. It's not random pot shots.
No. And the SBU source was pretty blunt about it. They basically summarized their ongoing mission as systematically working to destroy the air defense covering Crimea and the oil depots fueling the enemy.
So they're saying it out loud. Air defense, fuel. 2 sides of the same coin for them.
It's explicit. one interconnected target set.
Makes total sense tactically. I mean, why bother hitting troops if their tanks can't move or the ships are stuck in port because there's no fuel?
Precisely.
So the bigger picture impact here is hitting Russia's overall, military and logistical potential, as the source put it. It's attrition, but happening way behind the front lines.
Yeah, it directly impacts how fast and how far forces can actually operate. You mess with the fuel supply, and fuel is always tricky, hard to move, hard to store safely.
Right.
You start creating bottlenecks, problems that ripple outwards. Equipment sits idle, troops can't move, resupply gets way harder, riskier, costlier.
Forces commanders to make tough choices about who gets the gas.
Exactly. It effectively dictates operational limits from hundreds of miles away.
So let me ask you, listening, when you hear about strikes hitting things like fuel depots deep in the rear, what does that signal to you? What pressure points does that highlight in this stage of the conflict? Drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts.
And it's important to see this Crimea strike not just on its own, but as part of this bigger pattern we've been seeing.
Ramped up campaign.
Exactly. Ukraine really seems to be stepping up these long-range drone and missile attacks, not just in occupied areas, but across Russia itself, too, way beyond the front lines.
And that connects the tactical stuff, like hitting the Pantsir or the depots, to a bigger strategic goal, right? The economic pressure.
Precisely. A lot of these attacks, dozens of them, have been hitting oil refineries, energy facilities inside Russia. The aim seems to be, well, to try and choke off the money funding the war machine.
Hit them in the pocketbook, not just on the battlefield.
And they're claiming some success there. President Zelensky apparently said just this week that these long-range strikes have cut Russia's refining capacity by, get this, 20%.
20%, that's huge.
It's a massive number. If accurate, that's not just a military headache for Russia. That affects their whole economy. Could mean fuel price issues at home, maybe even unrest. It all adds up.
Okay, but here's the kicker. The really interesting part, strategically speaking, the weapons they're using for almost all of this, they're domestically produced, made in Ukraine.
That's the crucial bit. That's the workaround. Because remember, for the longest time, Ukraine wasn't supposed to use the advanced missiles they got from the West, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, for strikes inside Russia proper.
Right, those restrictions from partners. A major operational handcuff.
So Kyiv basically said, okay, if we can't use yours, we'll build our own. And they invested heavily. Now they're turning out their own long-range drones and missiles.
And the kicker on the kicker is that some of these homegrown weapons apparently have ranges that are longer than the stuff provided by the US, UK, or France.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Talk about adaptation under pressure, necessity, invention, all that. They had a clear capability gap because of the politics. And instead of just waiting, they engineered their own solution. Gives them independence, strategic reach. And they designed them without those range limits built in from the start.
Which gives them incredible leverage now, doesn't it? If they can cause a supposed 20% hit on refining capacity using only their own stuff,
then their ability to apply strategic pressure isn't entirely tied to Western aid decisions or diplomatic sensitivities. It changes the whole dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, there was that one exception recently, right? The UK Storm Shadow missiles hitting that chemical plant in Bryansk inside Russia.
Right. That was a big deal. Very rare. But that kind of highlights the point. Because it was so rare, it shows why the domestic production is absolutely vital for keeping up a sustained campaign of deep strikes. They can keep hitting targets without constantly worrying about the political fallout with partners.
So what we're really seeing here is Ukraine kind of pivoting, finding ways to hit Russia's military and its economy deep inside, largely on their own terms, regardless of those earlier restrictions. It makes you wonder, what else are they developing that we just haven't seen yet?
Well, it shows that maybe the key isn't always the fanciest, most expensive imported weapon. Sometimes it's about clever, adaptable, maybe cheaper domestic tech aimed right at the enemy's weak spots, like that $20 million Pantsir or those crucial fuel depots.
A blueprint for self-reliance in a long war.
Could be.
So let's try and wrap our heads around the big picture then. We've seen these recent attacks hitting hard on two fronts. High-value military gear, like that expensive Pantsir, and essential logistics, the fuel. And crucially, it seems they're doing this more and more with their own long-range weapons, built in Ukraine. It signals a kind of strategic independence, wouldn't you say?
I think so. And it poses a really profound question, doesn't it? If a, relatively cheap drone can take out a $20 million air defense system, and if you can systematically go after fuel supplies hundreds of miles away using your own homegrown tech, well, that fundamentally challenges how we think about air superiority.
Yeah.
about the economics of modern warfare.
You suggest maybe these super expensive fixed defenses,
Right.
they might be becoming obsolete against swarms of cheaper long-range drones.
It's definitely something militaries everywhere are probably grappling with right now. That economic calculation,
Okay.
it's potentially being turned on its head.
That is a staggering thought. The sheer cost implications for defending anything important. Just mind-boggling.
Yeah, it could force a total rethink of potentially billions in defense spending, all based on how well you can handle or counter these sorts of drone threats.
You've been listening to The Military Point. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time.